Hi, we appreciate you coming back to join us, Sun Institutions again. We had to take a little break for a fire alarm incident, and we're back in action. We're ready to talk about capital projects FY 22-23. We have with us Joe Asia, Director of Design and Construction for BGS, and Jonathan Griffin, Program Chief Design and Construction for BGS. And Joe, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Everybody got to catch their breath and everything else.
Oh, yeah.
You turned up.
You're not breathing hard.
Well, it's because he's healthy.
He's
healthy. He's healthy.
For the record, Joe Asia, Company of General Services. All we're going to do is I'll run down everything that's laid out in the spreadsheet that Joint Fiscal produced. Yes, should be the same. Only mine has no same. The numbers should be the same. Yeah. So on the top is statewide major maintenance. And this is used for doing a lot of our deferred maintenance work. So anything that's truly under maintenance is done by operations and maintenance out of the fee for space. What we're picking up is the larger projects, typically over $5,000 up to about 700, 750,000. Everything can,
Pardon me, I'm sorry. I have the one that we just used.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we have to.
But
Are we supposed to have
no,
your
this,
copy of
No.
yours?
this is the budget adjustment one,
should be the same one.
but you don't have,
Oh, no, I know that, because I don't need all those numbers.
oh, okay, cool, sorry.
He takes a shortcut.
Just like you did on the fire alarm drill. Yeah.
So you have them all memorized?
No, I know, that's why I have my notes, but the numbers in FY 22, 23 as in your, probably the last columns, one of the apps, yes, have not changed.
Okay.
And we're working on spending all this money, I want to say. With that. So with major maintenance, they're priority one projects. And priority one projects have failed, are about to fail, or is a code ADA standard issue or something like that that comes before us that we tackle at that point in time. So we do fire alarms, we do paving, we do stairs, we do the whole east entrance that took 2 years out here on the stairs that we were just using. Replacing that was a major maintenance item. And that was done, a lot of it was because of the grant that was failing because the amount of salt that we put on. We noticed we don't have as much salt on the east side as we do on the west side.
Needed a new material in those steps or those same?
The steps themselves have been reused and recut. They're not pillars, they're actually door jambs that are on the side. Those were our new granite.
Because when I came here once, the steps were gone and everything.
Yes, yeah, some of them were taken around, and what we did was put a concrete base underneath.
Oh.
They look just like concrete steps. Our granite was on the backside cut, so that it's a top and a front face. And sits on top of plastic wedges on top of the concrete.
They look
So-
exactly like the other ones.
Yes,
So
and they are.
Okay, yeah.
And so there is some new granite out there because of how bad it was. It was starting to look like shale. It was flaking off. It was
Oh my
bad and wearing away. If you go to the eastern, west entrance, you'll see some of that. It's not as bad. This side is, they hit a big hit, yes.
Now, not to keep long-winded about those steps, but those are made to come out so that you can get entrance. Did I hear that before as far as?
That is to the bomb shelter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Those there.
Here are permanent.
That is correct.
Okay.
And didn't you put tubing underneath it with heat, so there's?
Yes, there's radiant heat that runs out through there. It's called the snow melt system, so we use less salt. And it saves also on the granite and the concrete outside, but it also does not trap on the inside as much. So it also saves on maintenance on the inside.
It's safer.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's only, we haven't had the snowstorm yet to test this. We have one coming. But usually, if it's a very heavy, 1 to 2 inches an hour, it won't keep up and melt the snow. But you come in, just shovel it off and continue to melt. We really don't want to salt. We have them strewn throughout the area. Anything else on major maintenance? BGS engineering architectural cost, in FY '23 that was funded, in '22 it was funded, FY '23 it was not funded, it's now in the general fund. So I can no longer have any snippery remarks from some of the laws about how much we're spending on fees.
Listen, I love it when they take it out.
I see that, it's gone, so just.
Beauty, right there. We try that every year. You get over there.
But no, it's-
They're reluctant to take it.
Over the years, and I want to say 10+ years back, it wasn't a general fund.
Yeah.
And then, so it's been back, I want to say this is the third time since I've been here that it has swapped back out. It's just that over the years, when general fund's running tight, they moved it into the bond fund.
Is it out this year?
It is out this year also.
Okay, we
Did I
have.
tell you that?
When do we get?
I never said nothing. I didn't hear.
When do we get the sheet? When do we get the?
The 20th.
Oh, after
Friday.
After he gives up.
Yes, yes, sir. Yeah, Eric will be by, drop it off.
Okay.
Nice.
So you see everything we want to do. Physical security, this is statewide, and this is what our BGS security does, and they're for card readers, the cameras, emergency. What did that just slip me? Security systems throughout all of our buildings. And so the card access system has been in since 2003, I believe we installed it. 2002, 2003. So architectural wise for computers and everything else is really getting old, and they're looking to start replacing all of that. The camera and video system, that's, got a life expectancy sometimes of 5 years, 10 years max, and they're going to go back through now that all that stuff has been in there and start changing all this out. We are looking at a new card access system, whether it'll be the same card style or not, don't know. But that's the research that we do.
But that's not for every building that you have card access system, is it?
Not for every building that we own, but considerable,
Really?
I guess.
I hate to say this because it might give Senator Miles a little bit of a heart attack, but how do you do all that for 250,000?
We don't.
Okay.
This is really for keeping the maintenance up. So we've already spent the money way back when.
Yeah.
We are banking some to change out. So, however, we probably will be, once we pick a system, we'll know exactly what that costs. But it's not going to be 1 year, we change them all out statewide. It'll be a slow rollover.
Okay.
The cards right now are running about $20 a card.
Mhm.
They're looking at right now similar ones that has another chip on the inside of it that you slide in your computer. So that way, for agency digital services, that's a better secure item as opposed to just a.
Are we gonna use
Password.
the gate again, or no, it's just gonna be?
If you want to, but I think they open it up for you or someone.
Yeah, they talk, you have to mention.
Yeah.
Do you do
So
that?
they-
Can I do that? Oh, I got a card.
I got a card too, but it doesn't work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does. No, when I put the card, it says use, they got a sign, use the button instead. So I punch the button, the guy says, yeah, take my.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's only-
Well, I didn't think, I got a brand new card the other day and I didn't think it was work, but I was using the magnet thing on there. I was like, it didn't work. So I went and saw Janet and she said, no, it's the card that reads it.
He
So
was
you put the
he was
card up
pushing
there.
this up.
Yeah, I was putting that up there and it wasn't working.
No,
Well,
it
the
is a
little
card.
sign says don't use the card.
Oh,
Oh.
Yeah, it says use the,
No.
Geez, I use it every
I've been
day.
using the card.
It's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
certain people, you must be special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, Republicans are wrong.
Yeah, you're right, he is special.
So you're saying these are $20 a piece?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, there's if you tear it apart, there's a very fine copper cable on the inside and there's a chip. And it does read, and that's how that reader works. You hold it up, it's gotta be a certain distance away.
And
If
you
you
get
go
the
too far, it won't read it.
The $20 goes to me, I collect it.
Okay. Statewide planning, and it's supposed to be reuse and contingency, and what we use this for is under planning. When Commissioner Fitch came on board, she was looking for us to get more in front of us to better plan our projects for the future, so that when we come and put a request in the capital bill, we already have an idea of what things will look like from a high level overview. And so we're starting to get into that a lot more than what we did in the past. In the past, way back to the head of meat days, it's like, we're gonna build this here for this much. And that's how it went. Now we have to put a little more science in front of it by doing this planning study, hiring the firm in, and trying to evaluate it at a high level, put that estimate together so we have a better idea. The reuse is for when we have to shift people around in new space, whether it's temporary or permanent, to move somebody out into a different location. We go to fit that up. So that's, painting, carpeting, sometimes even furniture, to do that so that they can move into that space, as opposed to the agency or department themselves requesting to go someplace. And contingency by statute, the commissioner has the ability of up to $50,000 per capital bill item to use some of this money to provide contingency for the project. Burlington 108 Cherry Street parking garage. That is a wonderful project. The,
So we're here.
Tip up the table.
It has been years in the making of deteriorating, unfortunately. The house is going on a field trip tomorrow to go look at and a few other things. And we put it out to bid a little more than a year, 4 months, something like that. And it came in at 24.5 million. And 24.5.
24.5 million.
Yes.
What the hell are they gonna do with it?
That was to do a lot of deconstruction of the whole topping layer of the concrete. A lot of the beams and the columns need a lot of work because it's just salt that has gotten into the rebar and everything else, and the rebar is
Can't
expanded.
we just fill it in with concrete, the whole bottom, and forget it?
So like water bearing's been suggested. Some people have thought that, but if it's not sitting on ledge, it might sink the building. But then it would be grounded up. So
Oh my God.
last year we regrouped. We went out with a construction management firm. We just opened bids in December. We're still in negotiations, but it did not go down. We truly expected it to go down, but the way the economy has been, the cost actually went up.
How long will it be closed?
Well, if we go through the construction, it would be closed for a year and a half roughly for us.
You go a year and a half without it, why bother to even have the damn thing?
Does the thing generates money? Does it, once it's parked? No, so it doesn't generate money.
This is all for state employees. Some people who do visit can get a pass to park in there, but basically it's for state employees.
So what's the building above it?
That is human services is in that building, health mainly. Look at how many people of health that are in there. They also have DCF and several other divisions.
So with people working more from home, is the need for parking any less than it was, say, 3 years ago?
Yes, because if they're working from home and they're not coming to the office, the need is less.
So,
But I don't know if that's gonna stay the same or shift at some point in time.
Well, they're doing the big dig across the street, are they gonna do more parking there?
Yes. Burlington just went through, or we're actively working on their zoning to
Wow.
do less parking because they felt they want, more busing, more like vehicles, stuff like that, walking.
How many vehicles would park in there, Joe? Do you know, roughly 50, 100?
10.
I don't have that in there, but I would say it's close to 300 in that ballpark.
That's a lot of people to move around.
It's 4 floors, right?
For 4 levels.
4 levels parking.
4 levels of
4
parking.
levels of parking. It's ramped, but it's,
Is this by the hotels at the corner of Cherry by the,
right by the bus station.
oh, by the bus station? Okay.
So 24.5 million. So this 2 million is just to
Band-Aids.
study, to get it out there, to
Well, what we would do is, if we accept the price that we've been given, we would go forward with construction and this coming biennium, we'd be asking for additional funds to cover the balance.
So this basically is a placeholder, the 2 million is a placeholder to get the
Well,
project.
it's the 2 million, but we're also sitting on, the next ask would be considerable because
105,000.
3,405,000, we went to the E-board, because of Wilson Public Safety, we need additional costs.
Right.
For that, because that overrun, we took
That's right, we did.
or 4 million out of this project, so we'll be adding that back in to refund that.
How many employees we have there here? How many employees, upstairs? 100?
I don't, roughly the same amount of a little bit more than the parking spaces, because the 32 Cherry Street, the.
What we should tell Veronica is, we're gonna pull out of the city unless you do something with us on parking, because they want those employees downtown, so. There's gotta be an easier way. Well, anyway, we'll move on.
No, there's 2 more parking garages coming up, so just don't roll on this one. They're not a good thing to act on.
Tell them that.
Yeah, you're right.
Next one up, State House maintenance of interior historic finishes. This is what David Sheet spends for repairing carpet and grates mainly. Last 2 years ago, we did some patching in Cedar Creek Road. And if you go through there, you'll notice, or you won't notice really, that the carpet has been patched.
Yeah.
The individual that we found came in and actually shaved the carpet and blended in, because the rest of it has worn to a certain point. And really, the pile's a little bit higher.
Yeah.
So they're gonna come, I did a check actually, they're supposed to have been in here this weekend to do in the card room and in Cedar Creek. And so that should be patched. So that's what this is for. They're gonna meet with the governor's office doing his direction carpet. And this is really to get David on a cycle of starting to replace these carpets little bit by little. A lot of the carpets are made on a loom, and the seams are hand sewn together, like 3 foot wide.
They're beautiful. They are beautiful.
Some of them came from England. State House exhibition, interpretation, design, construction, that's ongoing work that continues. The biggest example that we have out here is the Alexander Twilight, really the painting, but also the verbiage and everything that's below that, explaining to a little bit more about everything. And so that's throughout the State House that David's working on stuff like that to change things up. For the more than just the male dominant paintings that are hanging out there. Next one up is the new courthouse. And Billy says 9 on mine, so I apologize for the abbreviation of the Newport Courthouse or the exact title.
Replacement planning and design.
Yes. So that building we purchased in the 80s, we renovated by putting a stair tower in and renovating the court on the 34 floors. It was just seen better days. It needs a new elevator. We are going forth with that elevator because it has died multiple times and it's original. We're getting parts to it, but they're difficult. The building was constructed in 1904. It's inside of the center stairway. So it's a narrow but deep elevator. I want to say the entrance going in is 31 inches or something. That's very narrow, but it is deep. It's not ADA compliant. Not that when we replace it, it will be also, because you're going to replace the door. And so the way the courts is, state's attorney, probation parole used to be on the first floor. They have moved out. They're in this space now. We're looking for a new building to house everybody in.
New building or new site? New.
We are looking, we have actively looked for a site. I think we have 3 or 4 proposals. Most of them were out of town, or just on the outskirts of town, and just enough that what we're looking for. The other one was a hole in the ground, but they wanted almost double of what it was worth, what their appraised value was. So that's still in the works, so we'll probably go back out looking for ones again and see what we can find to do, or other options. But right now, that's the planning phase where we had some funding out of the bill, and so we're in a planning process right now of looking at what that number of square feet that everybody needs to make this work. That should be done in a couple of months, I believe.
Is this the first dollars that we spent on that, Joe? Are we,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, paid for the whole planning and all new building, yes.
The courthouse would also be moved, is that my understanding?
Yes, it'd be all new building.
Okay, you got rid of the old.
And so we would sell the old one. It is on the National Historical Register. It's high on their list, and I think the exact term, but I know that we were trying to put some exterior conduit on the building, and historic preservation had come into it's exactly where we want to anchor it. So it's a very small site. There's some parking out back that's angled parking, so you're gonna drive a little bit of angled parking for the 10 month spaces, a little bit of grass out front, but it's really no room for expansion. Rutland Asa Bloomer, major renovations. This started back in 2018 when we inherited the building. It was originally back in the 80s when it was renovated. The contractor who renovated it owned it and managed it for 20 years. And then we ended up owning it in 2018. And they walked away. And yes.
What is this, an office building?
Yes, this is downtown Rutland. It's known as the Asa Bloomer Building. It's not the garage, that's separate. But this one here, so we've gone through and putting in new boilers, new air handling units, new fire alarm. We are now tackling a problem in the basement. We've had some flooding down there in the combined sewer and stormwater system. Opening up the floor, going down inside and looking, it's actually almost a river running through at times. That we see a pipe coming in through the wall, then it sort of opens up into more of a channel. And that has flooded over time and exposed some of the concrete. So there's a gap between the concrete slab and the earth. So we're investigating that right now and how to best tackle that and make that a solid pipe right through.
Does the state office?
Yes.
He wants me to name the column more.
Maybe.
No, I'm happy with Bloomer.
So what we're looking to do though is, Social Security had a sizable lease area up there. They moved out a few years ago. The way AHS is predominantly in the building, and what we're looking to do is in the future to change things up so that we better have utilized the space and if we collapse the leases and move everybody back in. That'd be great. If there's even extra space, we can lease it out right now. We're down on the first floor. There was a restaurant that's been vacant for I don't know how many years. We actually have somebody coming in now to open it back up as a restaurant. We're just reconfiguring some, creating some bathrooms so that they no longer have to come into the office building. They'll be in the restaurant space so that it's better, more appealing to them. So, and it's better security for us. Yeah. Springfield, Southern State Door Control. I'll let Jonathan take this one since he's a PM on it.
This is the door control project at Southern State. Essentially, we're replacing all of the door control mechanisms that are there now with the new, is it primary logic control, Joe?
Yes.
Primary logic controllers. So effectively, the new door control system can control the lights, the water, and the doors on the cell, and it has a camera call up. So when somebody goes to a door, the camera's automatically pulled it up to a monitor. The person that made control can see who's at that door and whether or not they can unlock it or not. Some of the things they have to do there is they have to upgrade not only the cabling because the wires don't meet the new system, but they also have to replace some of the doors because they're warped or distorted enough where the doors won't latch properly, or if they do latch, they aren't triggering the sensors in the top of the door that they're latching, which is a safety issue for the guards because they don't know if they're locked or not. So we're actively replacing those now. We're through one of the living units right now. Working with DOC to move individuals throughout the facility to vacant units as we work, and taking advantage of the vacant unit and doing other deferred maintenance in there while we're there, like showers, and also sewer lining. There's something with the soils there where the pipes and the sewer are deteriorating quickly, so we've been lining those pipes while the units are vacant. The project is moving well, and our project manager, who's had it for the last year, just left us last week, so we're reassigning it, but we've got a really good team down there. If you guys have any specific questions, we can happily dig in for it.
And this is the second facility that we've been working on. In Newport, Northern State Correctional Facility was first. So what we did there was we actually picked a door control system that we're going to use in all of our facilities moving forward, so that way we can give this. A lot of this is done by out-of-state contractors to manage the head end, the computer end of it, stuff like that. So it's a better deal to have them come in 1-2 days a week, year, or a week. I think we're all up and running to go around and service everything, but they're roughly a closed system, so it's not that big of a deal. But things do happen. So we picked the system for Newport, and next up and further down, you'll see that we're also looking at St. Johnsbury Correctional Facility, Northeast Regional Correctional Facility is up next. Waterbury, state office building, the historic core roof replacements back after Irene took everything out, flooded everything, and we demoed and rebuilt. We did not rebuild the roofs. So the roofs are original slate, and they're just starting to fail considerably. We have tried patching, and we go to patch 2 or 3 slates. You're actually patching 4 or 5 or more because they're so brittle, they're breaking. So now what we're doing is building up funds and starting to just replace all the slate from the facility.
They're replaced with slate, or they're replaced with something that looks
It'll
like
be
slate?
replaced with slate. Short preservation is key to that. In areas where you cannot see it from the main road to the horseshoe, you're going to allow us to use imitation slate. It'd be similar to the looks of 2 Aiken Avenue. We have imitation slate on that building. It's been there for 15 years now. And then also in the valleys, we're going to increase the amount of copper. So that way, with the snow that ices up in the end of the valleys, there's a break the slate, so I have a better ability to slide off. That's going to be a good 10-year plus project. White River Junction Courthouse renovation. Back in 2010, we did one in Brattleboro, similar renovation, because Brattleboro was built first, and several years later, they built in White River. And it's just the air fluid system have to be redone. And at the same time, while we do that, we're going to put a small addition on for the entrance for judiciary, because for their greater security needs and for people coming in. We've also got an issue with driving rain coming through the brick into the inner space, and then also into the interior walls. We have found where we're taking some brick off that the flashing that diverts your water that does come through the brick and down and off the header of your window. Yeah, that had slipped and failed, and so we're getting more shit that's going to be somehow puddling. So the brick that we have to do to replace that flashing, how much we get. Brattleboro Courthouse roof. After we renovated, we didn't do the roof. It's a metal roof and also a membrane roof. So the pitch part is metal, the flat is membrane. It's just that it's starting to leak severely. We've had roofers down there several times to put silicone on it and patch it. It's just now coming up time that it's best to replace the roof with keep patching. Another parking garage, 32 Cherry Street. This is Costello Courthouse is in there. The original building was built in '68, and that did have parking, 2 levels of parking underneath. When the addition went on in 1998, we did also 2 levels of parking, a little bit smaller than what this, what you have. It's just that, again, the salt and everything else migrating down through your parking there. It has to be repaired. Membrane. All of the facilities has to be taken care of. When we did 108, our engineer we had there recommended that for 108, $250,000 a year be spent on maintenance. And that is because of studded tires driving on your membrane, tear stuff as you turn the corners. So you go back through, inspect it, clean it, and do some patching. So this is what happens when you don't do the maintenance. That one has 78 parking spaces. That one we didn't do. 111 State Street, that's over here, the Supreme Court building. When libraries moved out several years ago, they went to Barry. They left the stacked area in the back of the Supreme Court building. And that was not original to the building. It was planned for, and the stacks came in later. There are a whole set of structural library stacks and flooring all integral at once. So we're looking to take that out of floor and renovate that into office space. The judiciary, who was leasing space over at 112 State Street, will be lease space and backfill to come in to this floor. So,
Joe, when we have a hole, if we look at our schedule at some point in time, I'd like you to just take us through over there and the tunnels again, and maybe some of the other lease space around here, some of the buildings that we're gonna sell or talking about selling. Just to show the new committee as far as what we have right in the general vicinity, if that'd be okay with you.
sure, I'll be a tour guide, no problem with that at all.
We did that last year. It was very, very helpful to try to
Put eyes on it,
wrap
see it.
wrap our heads around it. So, yep. So I think, yeah, I'll talk to Linda about that.
So over in there, we do have ADA issues because the elevator is original, it's very small. It's basically also on its way out, so it's how to put in a better location, larger elevator to meet the needs. Right now for handicap entrance, you have to come in from the pavilion side. Montpelier, 120 State Street. This is similar to 133 State Street that we did also back in starting in 2003. It's to go through and get rid of the steam lines and condensate lines that are in the wall. It's actually chased behind the plaster, but the steam lines run up. And in that building, what they do is the radiators are mounted on the wall. For some reason, when they constructed it, the steam lines come out of the wall in the slab. They make a U-turn and then come up into the radiators that are in the wall. And so we have had some leaks. We have no idea if there's leaks in the walls right now, but it's seen better days. And so the upper 3 floors have window units for air conditioning in them. There's no fresh air in the building. So what we're looking to do is a complete new mechanical system that'll provide fresh air, conditioned air, and go to hot water instead of steam. We'll use the steam from the steam plant, convert it to hot water, and circulate it that way, like we did at 133 other buildings. The problem with that is the ceiling tile and all that has to come out in order to put the ductwork in. And the lighting was done back in the early 80s, 83, 84. So again, it's going to be new electrical lighting going in also during that same point in time. That really gives it a whole retrofit. We have been putting money at this over the years. We just finished stair towers in the rear entrance of that place. We used to have open stair towers in the back. Now they're enclosed stair towers. We've done the restrooms. They're all new. So this sort of finishes and should be our last to do for a while. State House HVAC. That one, of course, we missed our deadline, and I misspoke the other day talking to Teddy Southworth that the unit didn't show up here, whether it's in somebody else's hands, we're not sure, but it's not going to be installed until springtime. We're doing this in phases initially, which was doing this area here, the first floor.
Right now that we haven't done anything yet. Where the hell they go? Where did you ship it?
I'm having Ted look into where it actually is, because I want to make sure it was manufactured.
I've heard excuses on this one since I've been here, so you know.
It's no reason to keep coming back. Senator. What's the new excuse?
Every year, I wanted to take back some.
So
He was a kid when we started this.
I know.
as a kid, I did walk through here, going to school. I used to live on that side of the street and had to walk through. So what we're doing there is, I briefly touched on it the other day with what we're doing. So replacing the air handlers. And that should be finishing up except for possibly phase 3, which is the cafeteria and the mezzanine area over on that part of the addition. Yet again, off to our third and final parking garage, the multimodal garage in Rutland. And what we're looking at is very similar to the other two that I spoke about. This one has 650 parking spaces. It's slightly different.
That must be empty all the time.
How many parking spaces?
600.
There isn't that many cars in front.
They plan for the future. We inherited this from transportation, we inherited it from the town.
Yeah, we were smart enough to hear of it.
Yeah. Hey, does anybody want to take it? We'll fill the buck. This one is different from 108 and 32 in the fact that it is open air, it is above ground.
Yeah, it is above.
So it's a little bit different, but it also has a bus terminal. So that's also something we have to deal with public coming in. So it is leased out. There's a leased agency who operates this. And so there is charging and public can park in this one.
You also get floods every now and
Only when it rains bad.
then.
Supposedly that was dealt with. I don't know if it's still.
Yeah, I haven't seen it act up that much lately.
Speaking of flooding, the 3-acre parcel stormwater planning and design and implementation. So we have 8 properties, 8 sites that we have to deal with, one here being in Montpelier. Probably one of the more challenging ones because of the ledge and the sites that we have here in Montpelier to prevent it from going into the river. So we've held off on paving here a little bit because of that. So our paving doesn't look so great, but it is because we're going to be putting in some structures underneath the paving to handle that storm, or at least that's what we're planning on. Okay. We're hired an engineer to work that out for us. Statewide pressure facility door control system. This is the next project up, which will be at the Northeast Regional Correctional Facility. The Northeast Regional Correctional Facility was built right after Rutland, and it's built roughly the same plans. All they did was change the name. So we're also doing the design on that one, and also for the working part. Going out to bid for design on that one shortly. At the Windsor State property, money was put in there to start taking down some fencing and whatnot, but we've had other people looking at it. So we went through just recently and did a assessment of lead and asbestos, so we know where it is. And so some of the not so great buildings, we're gonna start taking down. Also make it more saleable potentially, and also the razor ribbon, because a lot of people for some reason don't like razor ribbon. It does keep people laughing.
Don't do a car.
And last one up is 133 State Street renovation for Ledge IT. That was done off again, on again. It started in 2018 with ADS, Agency of Digital Services, when their servers were being migrated to National Life, and they were gonna make up an office in there. They went to National Life, and then the legislature IT's moving in there with a server room, so roughly 2/3 of that space will be Ledge IT offices. The server room, the final third is for BGS unnamed space right now.
So that a lot of that's coming out of the basement, the IT stuff's coming out of the basement of this building and moving over there
That is correct.
because it's too moist down there or whatever. It's just not ideal to have
Correct.
that type
That's a
of.
better environment. It'll have the generator full-time over there. They'll also have their backup on their handling system and everything else. So there's a better space.
Is there still staff at National Life?
For ADS,
No, for anybody.
Everybody? Yes.
I thought those were
Transportation.
moving out.
ADS is still there, transportation is still there, it's your national resources.
Oh, transportation's still there? Because I thought they moved.
Oh, sorry, education, I forgot that move. They moved to Berry, education came to National Life.
Okay,
Yes,
and you get a good deal there, I assume.
that you'd have to ask Lisa. Bring them in.
I don't think anything the state does is a good deal. They charge, don't worry.
Well, Joe,
That's section 2.
I'm gonna, this fire alarm has screwed us up. Is there a way that we can ask you back? I've got another meeting that started, it's supposed to start at 3:15. Is there a way that we can ask you back?
Which ones would you, we covered section 2, the rest of them up are like the Agency of Human Services, should probably be in there for talking about the correctional facility.
We went through some of those today.
Yeah.
Some of them today, yeah.
I'm probably gonna ask you if you could, Joe, I apologize very, very much. We had a pretty good schedule going and the fire alarm screwed us up. And I've got another meeting that I've got some other folks that are coming in.
Not a problem.
I'll
Schedule through Judy and
Yep, we'll do that.
we're good.
Okay.
All right, wonderful.
Yeah, bring back.
Good to see you, Joe.
Joe, thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Joe.
Committee, we're gonna call it a day
Okay.
and thank you very much.
Thank you.
And